someone else in the seat, that looked like the president, we had to positively identify that particular person using technology without touching the president.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been cleared for takeoff. You are now flying high with Travis Lamance.
What's up, Flying High friends? It's Travis, your host. Today, I'm super excited about our guest. We got Fred Kimble with us today. He's an innovative thinker, serial entrepreneur, leader in healthcare technology. Really appreciate you being here with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
I appreciate you taking the time and spending an hour or so with us and letting us know your story. I know you got a lot of really cool things happening, and we're excited to learn more and get some good takeaways from you on all of this. So you had a really impressive career that whenever I learned about you is really what captured my attention initially with your involvement in the Marine One helicopter. What level of involvement did you have with that? What kind of fun stuff can you tell us about that?
Oh, yes. I was in the military in the Army Aviation Command. Right. And the Aviation Command had a duty to support the presidential helicopter program, Marine One. And I was selected at an early age to be one of the persons to support the helicopter platform. Got a chance to meet quite a few presidents when I did that. It was very exciting.
Yeah, I bet.
It was the Marine One is a great helicopter platform, and I love doing it.
Were you involved with like upkeep and maintenance of the aircraft, or the design as they were building it, or like what were you doing with the helicopter?
Yeah, basically, I'm an engineer, so my primary job was to look at how we incorporate weapon systems first on the aircraft, and how do we protect the president while he's flying? How do we call in other support to come in and support the helicopter in case it's attacked? And also, one of the main things that intrigued me is how do we support monitoring the president's health also, right, without touching that particular person. You had to make sure we go and monitor their his vital signs, or whomever is the president. So we had to make sure the blood pressure was good, the respiration was good, the heart rate was good before we take out on every flight without right, touching the president.
That's a big order, huh?
That's a big order, a major order. And also positively identifying the president as right, the president. Is
someone else in there.
Is someone else in the seat, that looked like the president? So right, we had to positively identify that particular person using technology without touching the president.
I bet that was hard to figure out how to do all of that. I bet it was fun to do that.
It was fun. It wasn't hard to do, but it was fun to do.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this, doing research and development and looking at new technologies. There was a technology out there for heat sense.
I got you.
So the body put out a signal that unique, better than a fingerprint.
That's
so
crazy.
when we look at the heat coming from a person, we can positively identify who that person is.
Their energy field, huh?
Energy field. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
So cool.
It's cool.
How did you wind up in that role in the Army, though? Were you always passionate about aviation and kind of wanted to go that direction, or what led you there?
Yeah. I had an uncle that was in the military, and he was a helicopter pilot in the military. He flew the helicopters. So, and he talked to me about helicopters all the time. Always going out to an airfield somewhere, and I would tag along with him every once in a while. And it was just really intriguing to me to see him and see how he interfaced with the aviation community.
Right. I bet that was fun growing up with that motivation and inspiration in your life, though.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
That's cool. Well, what inspired you to leave those corporate leadership roles at Lockheed Martin and Siemens to pursue entrepreneurship?
I thought I was born to do something more than just working for a company, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I really had great careers at Siemens and Siemens Medical, doing things that, other human beings would love to do.
Right.
And, worked in Germany for Siemens, in the U.S. for Siemens. Got a chance to move back to the U.S., and this company said, I heard that you were in the military working on Marine One. Would you like to work for us? And look at the name of the company. The company name is Lockheed Martin. Who can say no to that, right?
Exactly.
So I said, Oh, yes, I do have interest in that. And they said, well, we have a division up in New York, a helicopter division. We're doing the Marine One program. And they convinced me to come to New York. And I moved to New York. My wife and the entire family, we moved there. And I started working on the Marine One program.
Right.
And it was fantastic. I enjoyed it.
How long were you with them?
10 years with Lockheed Martin. Got a chance to retire early because I had military experience
Right.
and a lot of time in the military. So Lockheed Martin offered an off-ramp. So if someone wanted to retire early and had 10 years or more military time and 10 more years with Lockheed Martin, they gave us an opportunity to retire early. And this is one of the things that intrigued me because I want to become an entrepreneur.
Right.
If I can help a company make $20 billion,
Right.
by me leading these efforts to win these major projects,
Right.
I should be able to make a few $100 million for myself.
Exactly.
Right? That's what
It's
my wife.
common
and I
logic,
thought.
right?
That's common logic, right? So we are in a pursuit of making a few $100 million for my family and us. That's what we're doing right now.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Can you kind of walk me through the founding of your first company and what that journey looked like?
Yeah, sure I can. So the journey didn't start after Lockheed Martin. The journey started when I was in high school. Really.
I gotcha.
Yeah. High school, looking at these helicopters and seeing how these individuals can predict things. Can you predict how long this helicopter will fly? How long this bearing will last?
Right.
And seeing these failures in some of these old helicopter systems. So that's one of the biggest failures. And then when they started looking at doing research, listening to the sound of the bearing and predicting when it would fail. So, and my mother worked in the healthcare industry for a long time. So she was very involved in healthcare. And I wanted to, at a young age, I wanted to do something to join technology and healthcare together. How do you do that? How do you listen to things and make it better, and do predictive analysis? So that's back doing like 50 years ago.
Right.
Okay. So that mindset has been with me for over 50 years before I started this business.
Wow.
So at the retirement, Lockheed Martin granted my wish to retire early.
Right.
I did retire early, moved back to Texas, and that's when I started my businesses during that time frame because we got a nice bonus from Lockheed Martin. I had money saved up to start my business, and it wasn't a high risk at that time for me to start this business. It's something that I thought I was born to do. I call it combined technology and healthcare using predictive analysis.
Yeah, and it started at a young age and stayed with you for that long.
Stayed with me for that long. All during my career, what I did was doing the same thing, trying to find a way with, for instance, Siemens was great for me. How do you take, X-ray equipment or CAT scan and predict the future, right? Can I predict how long you can live?
Right.
What type of cancer you may have? It was just intriguing to me to do that. And I moved up really fast in a German company called Siemens. And I got a chance to go to New York also when Siemens opened up in the U.S. On the New York Stock Exchange.
Right.
I was one of the employees there.
Oh, really?
So it's
You're like doing the ringing the bell thing?
Ringing the bell, right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's cool.
I was there.
That'd be a fun adventure.
It was a fun
It's always
adventure.
been one of those things I thought it'd be cool to do, to be there to ring the bell on one. That'd be neat.
So I want to ring the bell on my own company.
Heck
now.
yeah.
That's what I want to do now.
Yeah, that's the ultimate achievement right there.
Yeah, let's ring this bell, baby.
Yeah.
Let's make it ring.
What was your kind of first go-to-market product? What did you guys kind of start off with in phase one, if you will, or whatever of it?
So when I first started my business here in Fort Worth, Texas, when I first started one of my business, I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
Anyway, so I've had many different companies.
Right.
So my first business, when I came back to Texas, I had a stethoscope that I can listen to the heartbeat no matter where you are. It's an electronic stethoscope. So it was a state-of-the-art type stethoscope. I thought And we had a big meeting, and the city of Fort Worth invited all these hospitals and administrators from hospitals and doctors and nurse practitioners out to a facility here, and it said, Fred, you need to show this technology. So based on me working at Lockheed Martin, I had people that I knew in Germany and Australia and different parts of the world. Mm-hmm. So I sent a stethoscope to each one of those parts of the world. And during my presentation in Fort Worth, I had, the doctors to listen to the heartbeat of someone in Australia.
Holy cow.
How about that? And the doctor said, this is perfect sound. I can tell exactly what's wrong with this particular patient.
Wow.
And in Germany.
But that blew their minds.
Oh, it blew their mind.
Yeah.
It blew their mind. And they said, I love this. And this is a lesson learned for me is, sometimes you can be too quick to the market, right?
Right.
And sometimes the timing could be bad.
For sure.
And for me, it was both at that time.
Market product fit and market timing.
Market timing is critical. So doing that, I got the hand clap and the standing ovation. Everybody said, "Oh, Fred, that is amazing! I can do that. I can diagnose that patient over in Germany." And one of the doctors asked me this question that really I still have nightmares about this question today. Right? He said, "Fred, how much is the reimbursement for that particular product?
Yeah.
How much can I get paid for that?" And I said, well, Medicare and the private insurance company are still working on that right now.
Yeah.
And they said, well, call me as soon as
I can get paid for it.
I can get paid for that.
Yeah.
It's amazing technology, but I can't get paid for it
that
today.
Stinks.
It stinks. I mean, it would just brush my bumper. So,
yeah, I bet.
So it was a lesson learned. And I take these lesson learned as not as a setback. Mm-hmm. It gives you more motivation to do better in the future, mm-hmm. And it's just a springboard. So I think one success in life and business is how do you recover? Mm-hmm. Do you sit back and if you do something that you're not so successful, do you just sit back and cry about it?
Yeah, you give up and become a victim, or
you can't become a victim.
Yeah.
It's a lesson learned sometimes,
For sure.
And it could be a motivator to go to the next step. And that's what happened to me. It was a motivator for me to go to the next step. So one of the things I said, I want to learn how to work with people first, because I've been on the technology side most of my career.
Right.
So I bought some companies. I bought 3 companies that was in the healthcare business,
mm-hmm.
Dealing with people like, some franchises called Visiting Angels. Mm-hmm. And I bought my own home health company. Mm-hmm. I bought a home health company. So I did that, and I grew them really fast, mm-hmm. Because I had a desire to grow, mm-hmm. And learn that particular side, the people business first. Then later on, I was able to find the technology that I mm-hmm. wanted to find to bridge 2 gaps.
What were some of the keys or approaches on being able to scale those businesses really fast? What did you have to go in and do to them to get them to scale? Well,
first, on the scale of the businesses, you have to have something that works
mm-hmm.
well.
Good product.
Good processes put in place. It's almost like in having a McDonald's, right? So you have to have these steps that each step is well defined. The market condition is right, like the lesson learned that I had, in the past,
Yeah.
I didn't forget about that.
I bet you didn't.
I did not. That was a major lesson for me. So the conditions were right for this, to scale a business nationwide. So the U.S. market want more predictive type medicine right now.
Right.
That's where we are today in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So we are doing those type things right now, doing more predictive type medicine and stopping people from having heart attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Our motto is to save 1 million lives.
Really?
And we are documenting every time we save a life.
That's awesome.
How do you document that?
Yeah.
I moved in with a company called Dozy. It was based out of India. had the right kind of technology I was looking for.
Okay.
So I have the people skills now. I said, so I'm trying to put on everything I have right now so it can scale.
Yeah.
So the lesson learned, I have found the right technology, and the thing about it, I can get paid for it. Right?
One little detail, right?
Yeah, one detail. We can get paid for this now. We can make some money on it.
Yeah.
Now I have the people skills. So now we combine the two together, and we are really moving across the U.S. to save 1 million lives. That's what we want to do.
Phenomenal goal.
Phenomenal goal. And it's all about having a common goal with the general public, having a product that works, and you can be able to get paid for that while you're doing it also.
Yeah.
So we have about 8 different patents right now. We have 18 publications in medical journals.
Right.
So we're doing well with it. It's
like
growing, really growing.
When did you figure out you were a serial entrepreneur?
I think I found out I was a serial entrepreneur when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I did, I had a paper route.
Yeah.
I had like 20 kids working for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, you scaled up your delivery route.
Scaled up my delivery route. I found out that I could make money sitting at home every day, and without riding my bike to deliver newspapers.
Send them out doing it.
I sent them out doing it newspapers, and became one of number one newspaper delivery guys in the state of Louisiana.
That's
at that
so
time.
cool.
Right. So it was really cool to do that. And I always have had businesses. As I age in life, so every company I worked for, I had a company that on the side because I love entrepreneurship. And also the Fortune 500 companies I worked for would send me out to less profitable companies to turn them around. They said, we need this company to become profitable. Let's send Fred out there. And they would send me out there to this particular company. I'll stay there for, a year to 2 years to turn the company around. And in a couple of years, that company become the most profitable company in their portfolio.
What are some good things to look at whenever you have a company that's not making the margins it needs to make and you're trying to get it turned around? Like when they send you into one of those environments, what are some of the things you initially look at when you go in there?
It's all about the people, really. That's the number one thing, right? So you have to look at your employees first, see if you have the right people in the right place. And a lot of times they're in the wrong place, and I'm not saying the company is the wrong place for them. I'm saying that they have desires and skills to do other things, and the company just not see that.
Right.
And so what I did, I met with I try to meet with just about every employee one-on-one. And if I cannot meet with them one-on-one, I have my staff would meet with them one-on-one, and we develop questions that I need to ask. And we'll get those answers back and filter that and listen to the employees. Most time they have the answer already. Just listen to what they have to say.
Right.
So we listen to them and also incorporate some new processes that we need to incorporate. And that became the success story.
Right.
Yeah, just listening to them is one of the main things I think.
It seems like a lot of people want to go and talk at the employees and not listen to the employees. And the people with their boots on the ground are usually the ones that know where the restrictions are and what's stopping the flow the way it needs to go. And it sounds like just taking the time to hear them out and having the discernment to know which ones are pointing you the right direction and which ones aren't,
Right. You have to make them feel like they're a part of the company. And a lot of people feel like they're, just looking through a window at the company, through a window, right.
They're not part of the team.
They're not part of the team. You have to make sure that they feel they are part of the team.
Yeah.
They are important. What they say are very important and not something that you take lightly.
Yeah.
Now, you can't do everything that they ask, but at least you can give them the credit just to listen to them, right? And, and understand what they have. But if the company need to go in a different direction, you need to let them know. Right. And just tell them where we are. And we made the decision, and this is how we analyzed this decision, and we're going in to the right rather than to the left.
Right.
And just come with me, and, we've been successful doing this in the past, and we need you on board with us. You're valuable to us.
For sure.
Yeah.
And within your companies, do you spend a lot of time on talking about company culture and what's driving company culture.
Correct. We look at that really on a fine tooth scope, because the culture is very important. We've had many people that came there with great talents to our company that we have. Great talents that can have great ability, but we found out that their culture, the way that they work things, was not right for us.
Right.
And we had to terminate some of them.
Right.
Because it was not a good fit. And we thought it was at first, but, no matter how many degrees and how many things you've done before in the past, you have to fit in with the team. Yeah. Because, like Tom Brady, you can't have 10 Tom Brady's on the same team, right? You need one quarterback. So, so we do that process pretty well. We look at it, and we have each person had to fit it in the culture of the entire company.
How do you decide what industry or product within that industry is the right direction to go? Like, do you figure that pretty early on, or do you have to go through a lot of iterations to figure out what the right industry and product is?
So we have an end game. Our end game is to save 1 million lives, right? And everything that we do have to be focused around saving 1 million lives.
So if it doesn't affect that, you don't do it.
We don't do it. So it's something that
makes it easy to make a decision, right?
That doesn't allow us to save lives. No, we're not doing it.
Makes sense. I like the clarity, just very mission driven. That if it doesn't affect this mission, it's not us.
Correct. It's not us. Right. Yeah. We've had people that came to us with all different kind of things to do, and we're saying no, that's not our line of business. We have to save 1 million lives, and we need to start doing it. We got to save that right away. But we're doing some things here with some hospitals here locally that have never been done before.
Right.
That's our mission is to do that. And with skilled nursing facilities, Dozy is the name of the company that we're utilizing right now. We have another healthcare company called Kate. And Kate is a company that has a group of physicians and nurse practitioners in it. But the technology company is called Dozy. It's a driver for this whole industry in the U.S.
Right.
So it's so predictive, I call it predictive type thing. So it can predict a heart attack, a stroke, at least 16 hours before it happened. So, it's amazing technology. Your nursing facility or hospital, tell them to give me a call and call for Dozy.
Need to get that product in there.
Get that product in there. We need it.
Can you go into a little bit on how the product works or how the hospitals utilize it?
It's a device like a writing pad that go underneath the mattress. Okay, you stick it underneath the mattress. It has sensors in it that send information about your heartbeat, and your respiration rate. And also, in some parts of the world, we can do blood pressure with it also.
Right.
So it's a listening device. It listens to the heartbeat, and the lungs go in and out. Every time there's a vibration from your lungs or your heart, like you hit on a table with a hammer,
right?
You can feel that vibration that goes through the table all the way down to the leg, down to the ground. So the vibration go to the ground. So we listen at that, and we take that data and we send it to the cloud, and we have some special algorithm that we run, and we can turn that vibration into meaningful data like a respiration rate, heart rate, blood pressure, and those type things. It's great technology, and we can do this predictive analysis, and we use AI to take out other noise that we don't want to hear. So if you're in a room and somebody calls for drop a cup or something, we can hear that vibration also.
Right.
But that's not part of our analysis because we clean that out with AI. And AI have changed the game. AI is amazing technology, and we use safe AI. Okay. All we use AI for mostly is just take this noise out of my vibration that we record and get pure sound from the heart or from the lungs so we can analyze it. So it's great technology.
So I'm assuming that you have like a database of people that have either had a heart attack or had an event, and it gives you a little bit of predictive ability to see if this signal's coming up at this time, then we know they're fixing to have a heart attack 10 hours from now or something.
Yeah, so for instance, if you're in a hospital environment or in a skilled nursing facility, most of the time someone come by and manually check your blood pressure maybe every 4 hours or 6 hours. And at night, it could be less than that.
Right.
So our technology get the data like every 3 seconds,
right.
On a continuous basis. So we have that information and we can do more predictive type things with every 3 seconds than somebody can with every 6 hours. So what happened in between the 6 hour span is that's when most people have that heart attack, because, you can be normal at 6 p.m. And let's say get to midnight. And at midnight, that's when most trouble start to happen. There's no one around to see it.
Right.
But Dozy is there to see it, right? So we can see that. We send that information to the nursing station. We also can send it to the physician that can see that information. And we have a call center also that look at it also. And that's something that we need to warn the nurses about. We can call that there and talk with the nurses about this patient. We've seen, the blood pressure rise, the heart rhythm rise above normal. So we can do those type things also.
That's really neat. And I really like it because we lost my mom at an early age. She was in her mid-50s and she had a medical event. And that's kind of what happened with her is that the monitoring equipment that was out at the nurse's station wasn't reading correctly. And so she had an event and then she was without oxygen for undetermined amount of time, but way too long. And something like this she would have been one of your 1 million if this technology had been around a little sooner.
I wish you would have one of those.
If it saves someone else's mom, it's a phenomenal, really cool mission driven thing you're doing, and hits home with me for sure. How do you balance like your vision of what I know your vision is saving 1 million lives, but your vision of the company and the product and what it can do and should do, how do you balance that, what you got in your mind, with how you actually go and execute on turning that into a reality?
But it's a focus thing for us on our side. We know that we have to change the way the industry see healthcare, because in the past it's been reactive healthcare for years, hundreds of years, right?
Right.
So now we're moving to an era right now of predictive type healthcare. So rather than being reactive, so it's going to take some time to change this market. But we are, we have plenty of people that's involved in this process, and we are getting more and more scientists, doctors, hospitals, and universities that saying, yes, this is the way to go. In fact, our federal government right now, if you look at, healthcare out of Washington, D.C., they are focused on what we're doing, value-based care and predictive analysis, rather than more of this reactive type care we've done before in the past. And we are certainly in line with that process.
I'm going from sick care to health care, huh?
Right, exactly.
Wait until somebody's so far gone that you're trying to bring them back. Instead, you could avert all of that with this predictive stuff.
Correct. Our philosophy, we like to have a dozy in every bed, in every hospital bed nationwide, every skilled nursing facility nationwide, and, assisted living facilities and nursing homes.
Yeah.
We also have a device that can help reduce bed sores, pressure ulcers.
Really?
So it does the same thing as go up underneath the mattress, and if someone need to be turned every 1 hour or 2 hours, I can tell if this patient been moved or not moved.
Right.
Sometimes the nurses are so busy these days,
they forget to
go turn Miss Jones. It's 2 hours and 2.5 hours. Nobody have turned Miss Jones. But this technology can remind them that Miss Jones have not been turned. So let's go and turn Miss Jones.
And I would imagine with the nursing shortages and stuff that we're dealing with, this is a good partner to them to help lighten their load and get more out of each nurse that we have available as well.
Yeah, it's right, exactly. You can kind of reallocate the nurses. So nurses, rather than doing more reactive care, They can do other things, provide more patient care. Customers are more satisfied, but they can do those type things. So we are in a good place right now in the industry right now. To, I'd like to see us in the next 3 years, do the same thing I did with Siemens and get up there and Wall Street and we hit the gavel set, New York Stock Exchange. Yeah,
that would
that's
be
what I like
so
to see.
cool.
That
I
would
can't
be
wait
so
to
cool.
watch that happen.
I can't wait to watch it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I think it will happen.
Oh yeah, you'll get it there.
It
With you being an engineer and obviously very focused on the technology and all that, how do you balance like the side of your brain that's really good at that kind of work with having to maintain so many employees in this company that's global, that's all over the place? Do you have any particular approach that you take with employees outside of what we touched on earlier with the cultural piece?
Yeah, I think when hiring employees, don't get in a big hurry. Take your time. Know what type of employee you want to hire.
Yeah.
Do the interviews. From the manager to teammates. Make sure we do the interviews and pick the right person. And when you get the person on board, make sure we educate the person about who we are, our culture, and also continue to have these type cultural meetings throughout the entire process as an employee. Right. Even if an employee has been there for 5 or 10 years, make sure we continue that process on. That person get involved in the cultural training, and to make sure that we have the right mix of employees that can take us to the next level.
Right. They say you hire your problems at the door, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you got to take time to filter them out and avoid the problem before it happens. It's
exactly.
Predictive employment, maybe.
How about that? That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
funny.
I'm going to write that down.
You got a predictive hiring model. So telemedicine and using AI and all these technology pieces, some pieces of it have been around for a little while now, but of course AI is everybody's buzzword right now and what's going on, showing early signs of making some significant improvements in healthcare. You touched on a little while ago that you guys are using it in some of your technology. Where do you see that going from here?
I just see AI as being a way to support the individual, the nurses and the doctors in the future. It's not going to take over their job.
Right.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't see it taking over anybody's job. I see it as making them a better doctor, a better nurse, and also mean that they can treat the patient better.
Right.
That means the patient have better outcomes, rather than having that heart attack.
Right.
You don't have the heart attack.
Right.
You have a better outcome. You're not on a crutch or a cane or in a wheelchair.
Right.
You back in society working again, in your yard mowing the lawn, doing things that you need to do, right?
Sure.
That you want to do, rather than being, handicapped.
This episode is brought to you by Haven ASG. Looking to buy your first private aircraft or upgrade your current bird? Travis and the team at Haven Aviation Services Group has you covered. From finding the jet of your dreams to selling your old model, our expert brokerage teams handle every detail, connecting you to the right deal for the right aircraft every time. Visit havenasg.com/flyinghigh today for your custom experience to begin. Again, that's havenasg.com/flyinghigh, or just click the link in the show notes. Now back to the show.
Do you foresee this at some point in development being like a product someone could use at their house, or elderly people could use before they get into a situation where they're in assisted living or a hospital or anything like that, where it would kind of warn them at home that, hey, this isn't trending the right way or whatever?
Yeah, I see that happening. We do have a home device, but the home device has to be prescribed by a physician.
I got you.
And a physician has to oversee that process as the patient at home, because people leave the hospital with home health. So a home health agency can oversee this process and oversee one of our dosing units for a patient at home. But for anyone that's picking it up off of Walmart or, just off of CVS and using it without a doctor being involved, for right now, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But maybe
somewhere down the road.
It may happen. Yeah.
What principles guide your decision making, when you're dealing with risk and uncertainty?
Yeah, risk and uncertainty is something that you definitely have to look at. So this entrepreneurship is not easy, right?
No, not at all.
And risk and uncertainty is definitely a factor as an entrepreneur.
Right.
So there's plenty of risks. You know, you don't know if you're going to be successful or not successful. And you put up most of the time you put up on your personal money, your family money to start this business. And that's what I did. I put my personal money up for it. You know, I'm on the line.
Yeah.
So, and my family looking at me and said, "Fred, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, we need that money for college." You know, I had 4 girls, so I had to put 4 girls through college, and that was not easy.
Yeah.
So, and it was pretty expensive also. So you have to be aware of that. You have to take the risk. You know, without risk, there's very little reward.
Right.
So I took some risks, and it really paid off well for me and our family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely a risk reward matrix out there. It's, you know, that low risk, low reward, and high risk, high reward.
Correct.
Do you have like any, you might call them foundational principles or way of looking at the world on how to decide what's worth the risk and what's not?
One of the areas that you have to figure out what's successful for you.
Right.
And just because my risk may be a little bit different than your risk, you know, doesn't mean that you can not be successful. Right. So you have to determine, each family and entrepreneur have to sit down. I think you have to write a family business plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. We did a family business plan, you know, exactly where we are as a family, where we're going, what our kids want to do in life. And all my kids want to go to some kind of name-branded college, right? Which costs money, right?
Yeah.
And we wrote this out, and my wife and I wrote out our desire to become an entrepreneur. That's when I was still working for one of the Fortune 500 companies. And we looked at it and said, how much will we need to invest? And would that affect anything else that we have in our family business plan?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a certain amount that we wanted to invest, and we put that money aside for that process.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that we spend out of that did not affect our family business plan.
So you got 4 girls and 200 employees.
Yeah.
You've got to have some good information about time management.
Yeah, you have to. It's really difficult during that time frame, especially being an entrepreneur. Yeah. So I know many nights I slept at the office. You know, just stayed there all night working, getting things out, and sometime, you know, with the family, I just go away for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. You know, we was able to take a month off of vacation one time. So, which is, you know, it's hard to do working for someone else, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least you did have the wherewithal to take that time with your family and go off and do things for extended periods. And so it sounds like you focus, for me, I'll say it this way, for me, I'm very much that way. Like I get intensely focused on this thing for a little while, and then I'll focus on this thing for a little while. I'm not good at diverse focus across,
correct.
I can't focus on 500 things. Like
correct.
To me, it gets laser focus on these particular little areas and move the dial there. And then I shift my focus to this one. Is that kind of how you are? Or are you more broad breadth on all of it?
I you know, with my family and with us, we teach everyone how to focus. You got to focus for a while, then you can defocus for a while. It's just like breathing. You know, you have to breathe, inhale and exhale, right? So we have to focus on this for, you know, a project for 6 months, right? We know everybody will be focused for 6 months, but we'll take a break for a month, you know, and get ourselves together, spend more time with family, you know. But when we get back to focusing, we may focus on this for a month, you know. So it's like breathing in and out. And I think if you learn that process in business and family, you can balance family and business together.
That's a analogy I've not ever heard that's phenomenal. It's just like breathing with that focus. You know, you got to have both.
You have to have both, right?
Don't matter how much you can breathe in if you don't let some out.
you die anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that paints a vivid picture that I've never heard anybody say it that way before. It's really impactful way to think about. Everyone talks about work-life balance and all this, and I get annoyed with that. I hate that expression. it's just balance. It's not work-life balance. It's just balance.
Right.
And
Right. So
everybody's got their own threshold for what's appropriate on that. How do you feel like discipline plays into personal life and work life?
it's an important role in there. You have to get in shape for that, right? So just like picking up weights,
Yeah.
you have to practice that a lot. So you got to have the discipline process in order to be okay with that. So it's okay if you plan to go on a dinner date with your wife tonight, right? But you still have all these calls calling you, right?
You gotta choose to ignore the phone for an hour and focus on your wife.
You have to focus on your wife, and your wife will really appreciate that. That you're spending quality time with her rather than on the phone all the time. And she really appreciates that and appreciate you more, and give you more leeway to do your focus. So when you're focusing on the business process, she said, I understand. I understand you're out there. You have to get this project finished, this deal completed, and I give you some grace time, right. For that. So it's a two-way street.
Right. She knows that she's going to get her focus time, and just the way you give focus to the business, you give it to her. And
right. The same thing. My wife owns her own business also, and she has the same thing going on her side. So. She gets focused on doing things in her business, and, I give her the grace also, saying, I understand where you are, but when you finish that up, we're going to dinner next week. She said, okay, we'll do that.
What are some particular challenges with growing a business in the healthcare field that other industries may not feel?
Right now, there's a major shortage in the healthcare field of nurses and doctors right now.
Gotcha.
And I think our economy in the U.S., kind of did not graduate enough doctors and nurses to fill the gap, and we're filling that today.
And we have a pretty large generation of the boomers coming out, as they call them.
Correct.
And then the generations below them are smaller, right? So, is that going to be pretty impactful in the whole healthcare industry as they get older? Oh
yeah, it is. Right today, there's 12,000 people per day turning 65 years old.
Holy cow.
Per day.
That's a lot.
12,000 per day. We don't have enough hospitals and skilled nursing facilities to fill for that many people, that kind of growth. So really, this predictive type process that we're working on right now is to reduce the number of people that's going to hospitals, help people live longer and healthier lives. So we want to make sure we look at what we can we do to help people stay healthier for a longer period of time. And what you said earlier, having a dozy at home just makes sense.
Yeah, and I think one thing that gets brushed over a lot is we're doing all these things to help people live longer, but are we doing the complementary things to make sure that the longer is worth living, like the quality of life that you have in that period? Are you still able to be active and get out and do things and all that? So, and I think a lot of this stuff you're talking about with the predictive is going to help people stay, obviously going to help them live longer, but it's also going to help them have a better quality of life longer.
Right. I think you're correct. And one of the things that I want to emphasize that we are an FDA cleared device.
Nice.
And FDA cleared devices give you a different status. So some of the devices out there today are not FDA cleared, and I would be really concerned about someone using these devices that like wellness devices that are not FDA cleared.
Yeah.
So it can give you, I think, readings that you may not want, maybe false readings, right? So our device is still FDA cleared and it's been checked by FDA on a regular basis to make sure that it's accurate and it's safe to use.
Gotcha. Yeah, I imagine you can go on Amazon and buy any number of devices that haven't been through the proper testing and accuracy checks and that kind of stuff that will mislead you.
I was in the healthcare business with taking care of patients at home for a long time, and they want accurate information. So if my mother was in L.A., California, and she was sick, the information that's coming from that device in L.A., it better be accurate,
right,
when it's coming to me, right? So I don't want to see something happen that's not accurate.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely an important distinguishing thing there. What do you do, or what are some strategies, keys on identifying leaders coming up in your company and deciding which one of those employees need to move up to management and leadership roles?
Well, yeah. So we do a 360 analysis on a couple times a year on everybody in the company, right? So we have someone that reporting to them, do an analysis on them, a peer of theirs doing an analysis, and the manager does a bottom analysis. So we get a chance to see that these reports from the lowest level of the company all the way to the top level of the company, people giving a personal opinion about that particular employee. And also we look at the performance. Everybody has a performance measure that we measure those metrics. And we look at that also, and based on the bottom-up type analysis has been done, and the performance metrics, we can identify shining stars really quickly.
That's awesome.
And we reward shining stars also for being that shining star and coming up with that ideal or doing something that's, extraordinary for one of our customers or patients. We do understand that.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
And those 360 analysis that you guys do, is that something you guys proprietary you've developed, or is that a third-party tool you guys use for that? Or
it's a combination of both. We use a third-party tool. Plus, we have another process that we put people through that's our own tool that we put together. So we use this
a hybrid, huh?
A hybrid type process.
Must be effective, though. It seems to be working.
It's working well. It's working.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's one of the most painful or hardest lessons you've learned in leadership?
That's a hard question right there. Yeah, I think, one of the things I've learned in leadership is how to be more humble. When I went in the military, I was a lieutenant, right? So, so they brainwash you to think that you know everything, right? So that's where I went. I thought I knew everything, and I was told that I knew everything. And when I got there, I really did not know everything.
You figured out you didn't know everything.
Quickly, I didn't know everything.
That's
and
funny.
I had to make major decisions as a lieutenant, and I wasn't prepared for that.
Right.
So early in my career, I started learning these type things that you have to make sure you get great counseling. I always have had a mentor, somebody I can run ideas by, and I think that's the thing that we're missing in today's society also. Great mentors that can mentor young people to help shape their minds early so that when they get older in life, they have a more balanced life. Because, if I didn't run into that mentor that helped me when I was in the military, I thought I knew everything. I may not have made it back to on one of my missions I was on out there, right?
Yeah.
So, but, I did learn early in life that listen to the mentors. You don't know everything, Fred. Just, take some advice sometime.
You're such a humble person now, just talking to you. I can't imagine you ever not being that way.
Oh, I was.
You were not.
I was not this way. I was not mild all the time. I was really gun-ho and just really strict at one time. But, I did learn my lessons early. And I'm glad I learned my lesson early during the process because, I could have had some of my teammates killed in the military or I could have not made it back.
The mentor topic I bring up a lot, and it's something that I've needed for my development over the years, obviously, but nobody in my life ever talked about, hey, you need to go find a mentor, or here's how you go find a mentor. So if people out there that might be watching this and they're like, yeah, you guys always say that, but how do I get a mentor? Where do I find one? You got any words of wisdom on that, on how a youngster might go find a mentor and how to identify that? Yeah.
I think one of the primary things that young people don't do, like I was when I was young, you don't ask, right?
Right, you definitely, you know everything.
You know everything. You already know it. You don't have to ask them, you already know it. So one of the things I think is to ask somebody. You got to go, you find somebody that you think has the right qualities that you like to follow, and you go and you talk with them and said, would you become a mentor for me? Would you mentor me? Just see me, let's have lunch once a month.
Mm-hmm.
I can just run ideas by you once a month, and we develop a little agenda, and help them mentor. They may not know how to mentor either.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe send them some topics, a mentoring book,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that to help this mentor you better.
Mm-hmm.
Because most mentors out there are not trained.
Mm-hmm.
They are people that's learning how to mentor someone.
Right.
So maybe both parties can play a better role in this mentorship.
For sure.
So one of the things that I'm doing right now, I'm starting a mentorship program for young people that want to be mentored in business or just in life.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I moved out to Midlothian out there. We have a pretty large piece of land out there that we developing into a mentoring program. I have a nonprofit now, so that nonprofit is we bring kids out there and young adults out there for coaching and mentoring, and that's one of my passions also.
Is that going to be geared towards like school aged, like high school, middle school, or?
Yeah, probably high school to the early 20s.
Yeah.
Someone that want to start their own business. How do you start your business? How do you find out what you're passionate about? And young kids just trying to figure out life right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many kids that want to commit suicide these
Yeah.
days, and all they need is someone, most of the time, to talk about their issues, right?
Yeah.
So, and they lock it inside and feel that they cannot talk to anyone.
Right.
And I like to develop somewhere a process so they can talk about it
That's awesome.
and get some help with it, right?
Yeah. And is that program still being developed right now, or is it up and running right now?
It's still being developed right now, but I've been involved in mentoring programs for at least 30 years. So through church and other organizations that I'm involved with. But I like to do it a little bit differently. This was not a religious type mentoring process.
Mm-hmm.
This is about business, life, and helping them find the right mentor. So maybe I can call you sometime, and said if I have a young kid, they want to be in the aviation business and he love it, and he just want to spend a day a month with you,
Absolutely.
a couple of hours, a month, just to, and exposure is all they need sometimes.
That's really cool. That's going to be a good program, I don't doubt. I'm glad you're doing it. We need it.
Yeah,
we need to have a lot of people out there trying to find their way. What kind of advice would you give to someone that's in a corporate role today that's thinking about going out on their own and starting their own thing like you did?
I would do the same thing that I did. I would advise them, number one, develop the family business plan.
Family business plan first.
Then you start your business plan, and now you have a sense of reference. How far can you go with this business plan? What type of company are you want to develop? And just like me, was it the timing right?
Yeah. Yeah. Can I get paid for this?
Can I get paid for it?
Yeah.
I thought the timing was right, and I thought the idea was so good. Everybody should pay for this, man.
Yeah.
All you doctors out there with all this money and the big hospital system here, you can write me a check before you leave, right?
Didn't work that way. Huh?
It didn't work that way.
Yeah. I think a lot of people that are going off on their own, or like I've done in a lot of ways, they kind of building their parachute on the way down. And I bet your method of building your parachute before you jump off the cliff is a lot more peaceful way of going about it. A little less chaotic and lower risk.
Exactly, lower risk. Make sure it was open, right?
Yeah. I dive off the cliff and then I'm like, oh wait, did I bring the material to build the parachute?
It's not a good way of doing it. There.
It's very stressful.
Yeah.
It takes a lot longer in the long run to do it that way, instead of having that methodical, planned out approach like you're discussing. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and especially a lot of the guys on social media and that, they hype the fact that it's supposed to be chaotic, and it's fun to hear a guy that's been super successful like you that didn't take the total chaotic approach. You sounds very methodical and disciplined, laid out way of doing things. And I think it's a lot of times it's a more realistic approach to being a successful outcome than what sounds fun and just go and
Right.
see what happens.
Yeah, I've heard some stories from other entrepreneurs saying, "I'll sell my house, everything I have, to be successful. I'm all the way in."
Yeah,
I don't think that's the right approach.
yeah,
I think you have to have these barriers set up where you know how far you can go,
yeah,
right? And if you go to that limit, you have to rewrite your plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I spend all the money that I can spend on this,
Mm-hmm.
so I need to rewrite my plan. Is my idea good enough? Is this ideal
Mm-hmm.
worthy of this type business? If the idea is good enough, maybe you have to find some other investors at that point, and you can rewrite the business plan for that.
Right.
Going out and find other investors to invest in what you're doing, but certainly, don't do this, spend everything that you have,
Yeah,
and then you're not being successful
Yeah.
in this business venture you're in, and it's not in line with your family business plan.
yeah. Put
Yeah.
your family at unnecessary risk, and that's probably why so many of them wind up in bankruptcy and
Correct.
devastated and never recover from it, is the lack of planning.
That's
And
right. That's correct.
looking back on how you have done things, is there something you would warn entrepreneurs to avoid outside of the lack of planning side of it?
Make sure that you have credible people that analyzing the idea, not like your mom, dad said. They say, "Oh yes, that's a great
good,
idea.
honey.
I
We'll
like
get
that
after
idea.
it."
Get after it." No, go after people that you think could be critical of it.
Right.
Not an advocate of your idea of you.
Or stress
Also,
test it a little bit.
stress test that out some. And I think that's one of the main things entrepreneurs. They always get advice from people who are saying yes to them all the time. They're finding yes people, and I don't want to find yes people. I want to find people that can give me an idea of exactly where I am. Whether yes or no. I mean, they'll be straight with me and talk to me about these type processes.
And it's really easy to get emotionally invested in your idea, and then you create all these scenarios about why it's going to work,
Right.
even though everyone around you knows it isn't going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
And so being able to be open to that feedback and trying to avoid the pet rock piece of it, it's like, it's my precious thing, and
Yeah.
and so I think there's some balance in there of protecting that long enough to give it a little life, but knowing when to release it if it ain't the right idea. It's not a viable product or a viable service that the market's going to pay for.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's probably hard at the pace of change of technology to keep the most current, best technology out there for the people all the time.
Correct.
I mean, I'm being in the private aviation business like I am. We see a lot of technology move into the automotive world and all these other industries. But due to the requirement that we have to have safety above all else in the aviation world, it takes decades frequently for that technology to catch up to us. So it always surprises people when they get around the airplanes and they're like, well, yeah, that was cool in my car 15 years ago.
Right, exactly.
They don't realize that you can't just implement those changes into the aviation space. And I equate a lot of that in the healthcare space as well. And I've spent a lot of my career in the aviation EMS world. So now we're taking two really safety sensitive and bureaucratic institutions and plugging them into one business. So it was always painful to watch that process. And I'm very passionate about the EMS air ambulance world, and the whole industry, and that means a lot to me. But watching what those people do with that technology available to them to go out there and save people. And
with our device, I can see that eventually going into EMS and be able to, when that aircraft land, the people on the ground already has all the information that they need to to make certain type decisions.
And every minute you can shave off decision making is a difference between life and death in a lot of those emergent situations. Like
exactly.
That, so.
You're certainly right about that.
I heard a little bit of a story on another thing that I thought was really fun. If we can jump into for just a second on what's this deal with the water purification project?
Oh yeah. So let's see. Water purification project. Now, I always have had a passion in my heart to help people anywhere in the world be able to drink water. Right. So I work with a group that was providing water wells to people in Africa, in some remote portions of Africa. These kids are walking 3 or 4 miles a day to get water from a creek out there that's or a lake that's full of sewage and all that kind of stuff. But that's only the water supplies that they have.
Right.
And I got involved in that particular process. Built a couple water wells. I mean, really large type water wells.
Right.
And they run the water tower lines for miles in those areas, and to pumping stations where somebody can take their little jug, 5-gallon jug, and fill it up with fresh, clean water. And that's where I started. And we started at the facility where I was. Where I started one of my businesses is called the Fort Worth Business Incubator.
Okay.
They had this company that had water purification systems, and it was intrigued me with their technology. It was great technology. They can get water from the atmosphere, right? So you would turn the machine on and turn it on there and give me a glass of water.
And it would just suck the humidity out of the air
Suck
and
the
turn it
humidity
into drinkable water?
Out of the air and turn it into drinkable water, right? So, I did take a drink of that water, right? And he had other equipment there that, take soft water and turn it into fresh water, right? So I took a drink out of that one too. But the third one, I don't know about the third one.
You weren't quite prepared for it.
I wasn't quite prepared for this.
Yeah.
So this one would take wastewater, urine, stuff like that.
Regular straight up sewage water.
Sewage water, and you put it in the machine. Clear water came out, but the third one, I wouldn't take a drink out of that one.
You weren't ready for that.
I wasn't ready for that one.
That's
so,
cool.
But the primary principle is that, these type ideals that this particular gentleman had is a great idea, right? So you could go to any countries around the world that don't have water, and you can help them purify the water. Some people, like in Gaza, they live right by the ocean out there, and they're dying because they're dehydrated. They don't have enough drinkable water. And entrepreneurs coming up with these ideals, and I think it's valuable for our society to do that.
Entrepreneurs just always intrigue me. They come up with solutions to the craziest things, and the finding that product market fit to get these crazy ideas out there to improve humanity and improve our quality of life, and everything from these private airplanes to sewage water, and everything in between.
Exactly.
Some entrepreneur along the way has figured out a product market fit and a solution, and using engineering and technology and gumption, they just go in there and figure it out. And they're just fun to talk to, and they always are so creative in the way they come up with things and how they fix things, and it's fun to watch and talk to the people that have been around that.
It is. Yeah. I'm an angel investor also. I invest in small companies that trying to start up, and I'm intrigued by AI companies right now. So
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on right there in the AI world.
Up there where I live, they're building these gigantic data centers, like mind-boggling, huge scale data centers, and I can only imagine what's coming down the pipe in AI with the amount of expansion they're doing on the data centers for putting all the chips and everything online there. And these LLMs are just going to be, they're already mind-blowing.
They are.
And they're changing by the second, and just trying to keep up with that technology curve is a lot. Today, you think you're up to speed on AI's capabilities, and you go to bed and wake up, and there's like a whole new thing they can do. I can't hardly keep my hands around where all it's going. It's going to be an interesting ride to watch where it evolves to.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I'm really excited about the future of AI, safe AI.
Yeah.
How to use it safely. And in our company, that's our focus is to use. If we use it, it got to be safe AI.
That definition, is that a technology definition of one type of AI approach versus the alternative? Is that just a general word that we're trying to do it safely, or is there actually a technical difference there?
I think it's in a definition stage right now to determine what is a safe AI right now. But I think you're right. AI can be used to, be destructive.
For sure.
And that's one thing that we are not an advocate of at all.
Yeah.
No destructive type
sure.
AI. And, there probably will be people that would use it for destructive type reasons.
As long as human history has evolved, every new technology that develops, it's used for good and for bad. So
Right, correct.
we just got to make sure we have enough good guys out there using it for the right reasons to counterset the other ones,
Correct.
I mean, you've already done so much, built so much. What do you hope to leave behind as your legacy?
Well, I want to wrap my life. I want people to remember me by, I call it being a bridge builder. Right?
Yeah.
A bridge builder between technology and healthcare and safe care.
Yeah.
Build that bridge. A bridge builder between a person that needed a mentor. And how do you build that bridge? A bridge builder by, getting people into a safer place, doing predictive analysis, saving 1 million lives. When we get to that goal, we save 1 million lives.
That's so astonishing, though.
That's going to be the final bridge for me. I want people to remember me as being part of that process, saving 1 million lives.
That's a admirable goal, to say the very least.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to cover?
No, I think I'm fine. I think, thank you for interviewing me. I really appreciate this.
I appreciate you taking the time and enlightening us. You have an awesome life story and done a lot of really cool things, and just love seeing people like you out there in the world doing all these really inspirational things. You want to leave any kind of contact if anyone wants to reach out? Are you on any socials or anything like that?
Yeah. So you can get us in contact. You can look at our website at doze.us. DOZEE.us.
Okay.
And you'll see our website and everything that we're doing on our website. We have some fantastic stories on there also.
That's
how
cool.
we're saving people's lives. It's incredible. So there's a way to contact us there. We have a phone number and a lot of videos on it.
Awesome.
So we really believe in videos at Dozy, so you'll see quite a few videos about what we're doing.
I'll have to go check some of those out.
Please do. Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you listening today. Go check out his website. Mr. Kimble, very much appreciate your time today.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for coming. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a quick second to thank Clinton Pye and the guys down here on the team at Aviano. They hosted us for a couple of sessions on our podcast. We're great hosts this weekend down here in Meacham. I've known Clinton for a long time, operates with utmost integrity. Phenomenal guy. If you ever need help with your brokerage or your aircraft management down in this part of the world, please reach out and support these guys. Thank you.